Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm just doing a video today about the recent announcement by 100 Never Trumpers that they might leave the Republican Party. I'm just kind of laughing because I've always thought that there should be third parties and different parties that are available to vote for in the United States. And it never really became a thing, even though, we've gotten pretty close in numerous times. Most recent one was Ross Perot back in 1992. So what do I think of this? Well, I think that the whole thing with these Never Trumpers is that a lot of them are neocons and very problematic as far as their political positioning and where they're coming from. And the problem that I have with that is that, we'll put like some of these actual better populist positions into, the Trump people. And then, there's problems with that too. Now, this is not a bad thing overall though, because you really see the fissure start in both the major parties. Now, with regards to the Democrats, a lot of the squad have been kind of sellout grifters, and it's been revealed that that's the case, unfortunately. Now, that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be another party available to vote for. I voted for the Green Party several times in several elections, and for different candidates. But I think it's the wrong reasoning for this split, because it's essentially Republicans that are just, they want to continue foreign policy that's problematic, trade policy that's problematic. I'm just going to I hate to use the word problematic, but it is problematic. So I'm not really looking forward to this if this really does happen, other than the symbolic whole fissure with regards to the Republican Party, or the two-party system. It's coming from an unexpected place if this really goes through. Now, the Mitt Romneys and the Liz Cheneys of the world have worn out their welcome. I recall the day fondly when Mitt Romney was seen as an out-of-touch plutocrat, essentially a financial criminal with his Bain Capital. And I recall fondly the day that Liz Cheney was considered not too far from her father, a unabashed war criminal, might I add. Now, is Donald Trump a war criminal? I'm sure that, the Iranian, what was his name? Soleimani? The assassination of him, the posturing in North Korea that later did, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some back channel things with North Korea during the time when they were having their Twitter wars. But, I'm not excusing Donald Trump for his embrace of anything. I just think that the populist movement gains by, having different poles that they can operate in. So, and I support ostensibly a populist movement in the United States. I don't think we need these plutocrats controlling things anymore, financially or otherwise. That's the thing that people, Matt Taibbi did a article about Mitt Romney back in, was it 2012, I believe, when he was running against Obama, and it was in Rolling Stone. It was one of the best, some of the best coverage I've seen of Mitt Romney and Bain Capital and all the nefarious things that he did. So if these people are running as, Never Trumpers, what do they have to offer that's not, that's different than the Republicans? It was like, that's the whole $1 million question. It's like, are they going to, be more woke or less racist, but still implement the same policies? Otherwise, just give lip service to these things. or are they going to do something different? I don't know. For the most part, Trump was their scapegoat for everything, because he embodied in many ways a lot of the stuff they were already for. He would just gave an ugly face to it, or just like racism and a lot of the stuff that and I'm not saying he was a racist, but he definitely used race in his political gamemanship. So it's I hope it happens on the Democrat side as well, which would be great, because the two-party system has outworn its welcome. I mean, Thomas Jefferson was against parties, even though he later founded one, but a lot of the founding fathers warned about this, these days where, we have these parties, and the parties are corrupt to the core. They have, so much money being thrown at them, as far as, and then they corrupt the politicians accordingly. Or the media is corrupt because they are aligned with one and will be blind to the crimes of their own party. Just like this last crisis, a lot of the time. We had Cuomo's so great. Oh my God. It comes out later that he's a sexual harasser and murderer of grandma, which he, ironically, all his policies were, he thought you were, if you can only save one life, but you didn't, you didn't save a life. You didn't save one life or whatever. I forgot what the quote was, but essentially he's a hypocritical douchebag. I'm gladly seeing these people, as far as some of these leaders and some of these figures from the past year fall, and I'm happy about that. I hope that continues too, and I think it will. I've been watching some stuff like Jimmy Dore, and it's on Twitter everywhere. Leftists are turning against a lot of these people because they know they're finally waking up to the hypocrisy and the bullshit that they've been fed. Doesn't mean they're going to become, Travanka virus truthers, but I'm just using code words, of course, because of YouTube. But yeah, it's good to see divergence, regardless. So even though I have mixed feelings about this divergence, because this is just the neocons, who don't like the isolationism of Trump, which, to be fair, wasn't really isolationism. He still drone bombed, numerous countries. He still supported a lot of this stuff, but I think they generally are scared because of the few good things that Trump did do foreign policy wise, as well as that trend, with was it Josh Hawley getting together with Bernie Sanders on foreign policy stuff. They're scared of that populist trend. They don't want their money messed with either way, and then I think Biden, Trump had this tax on, what was it? Did he repeal? I'm trying to remember all the tax things, but there was one tax that went against corporations, as far as I know. And, like Biden might repeal that or something like that. It's things like that. Those little crumbs or pieces, of the whole actually do make a difference. So I look forward to the divergence, and I look forward to the whole thing becoming, just splitting apart. I think the two-party system, as it stands now, needs to be destroyed. I think it needs to be decimated in maybe not 1,000 pieces, but, why even have parties? Parties are an antiquated apparatus of, the elites from back in the day, That's what it is. And they're still the elite, regardless of what you say. Regardless of what anybody says, it's part of the system that has oppressed and caused repression around the world and within our own society. And until these things are dealt with, then we're going to continue to have that. And you have the invisible primary, which Matt Taibbi talks about in Hate Incorporated, in which basically the two parties pick their winners, or they hedge their bets, against anybody that would threaten the power apparatus. That's why I don't understand people that support the two-party system, whether Republican or Democrat. Now, the past year, I've supported the, ostensibly, I've been probably more Republican than I ever have been in my life, even though I don't like Republicans. I don't like the Republican Party, I should say. But a lot of them were the only ones that were kind of calling out, for civil liberties, calling for civil liberties and caution with regards to a lot of policies and mandates that were being enacted. It doesn't mean that I, want people to die. Oh my God, no. I just want a safety lever in case these powers become too prominent in the government or, with corporations or whatever. So that's one of the things that I have to say. But I'm not a Republican. I would never vote for a Republican, except for maybe Rand Paul, in primaries or something against whatever neocon fuck they have running. I actually almost did that in 2011, 2012. I actually almost voted for Rand Paul. Little known thing. People that I know probably have a vision of me as some kind of far leftist, but really, and I mix the libertarian things with some of these left ideas, and that's pretty much how I've been for the last 15 years or so. And I did vote for Gary Johnson in 2012. I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. So it's pretty bizarre that, to some people, my political ideas, but I don't believe that it's that out of the norm. I think a lot of people have, believe in civil liberties, but they also maybe believe in a safety net. And I think those two things are contradictory in some ways, in some terms, but it's a way that I kind of it's something I believe in. It's idiosyncratic, I guess, in some ways, but it is what it is. But I don't think that the party system should be 50 years from now. I'm hoping there's no two-party system. I'm hoping it's all destroyed. I think it should be destroyed. I think anything we have on corruption with regards to the Democrats should be revealed, or the Democratic Party apparatus. People should go to jail. They should be shunned and shamed out of the system. Same with the Republicans. They're both, and these never Trumpers forming this other party are corrupt as hell. Maybe more so than a lot of the Trump people. The Trump people are just like kind of crazy. You got the My Pillow guy appearing in all these Christian movies, and it's just like they're crazy. A lot of them are grifters, a lot of them are crazy, and they're corrupt. But the deep-seated, deep state corruption is on a higher level than that. The financiers, the people that are really the power brokers in this country that control both parties. These little kind of grifter, corrupt, fundamentalist Christian weirdo people that are part of Trump's thing, do they have real power? Yeah, they did have real power to some extent, but are they worse than the Mitt Romneys of the world? I don't know. I mean, if you look at the damage, how much control these other people have, maybe it's more insidious than you're a crazy QAnon person, but it's more subtle and insidiously evil than someone talking about some crazy stuff, or the My Pillow guy thinking that Trump is going to be back in the it's going to be back in August. It's so ridiculous. I think it's a crock of shit, of course. But now we have we're back to the 70s now, hyperinflation and oil prices, and it's like Biden will probably be a one-term president like Carter was if it continues like this. Not that he's that great. In comparing him to Obama was, corrupt to the core, obviously, and a warmonger to a certain extent too. Now, the one thing Obama had going for him that Biden doesn't is more competency. He was able to kind of just function as a president way better than Biden seems to be able to do. And Biden isn't even in control anyways, as the White House kind of tacitly admitted. It's kind of ridiculous. But Who would I vote for in the next election? I'm probably not going to vote anymore because I think they're just all crooks. But I love, if something was a threat to the two-party system, I'm going to vote, I'm going to do that. The two-party system needs to be destroyed and decimated. It's one of the dumbest things ever in the world. I mean, in the Netherlands, on the ballot, they might have 15 different parties, or in Denmark, they might have 20 different parties on the ballot. It's way different in Europe and elsewhere than America. And that's why America is so corrupt, So if you support Democrats or Republicans, that's your prerogative. I'm gonna mock you privately in my head. I'm not gonna tell you in person. I'm gonna think that you're extremely misinformed. I don't think you're stupid. There's a lot of smart Democrats, and there's a lot of dumb Republicans. But there's I think smarter Republicans are actually becoming more common, fortunately or unfortunately. There isn't an intellectual tradition. There is not an intellectual tradition in the right wing that has been that great in the last 30, 40 years. I mean, William F. Buckley and people like that back in the day actually gave some prominence to the right wing. But once it became Rush Limbaugh's drugged out ramblings, then the shit was done for a while, I guess. Ben Shapiro talks pretty fast, but a lot of it's, rattling a bunch of bullshit. Tucker Carlson says some good things once in a while, actually quite a bit in the last year, I'd say, especially with regards to hypocrisy and stuff. Ben Shapiro is smarter than most. Actually, he is smarter than like Rush Limbaugh and people like that, but he's still not, on the level of William F. Buckley. But a lot of the left commentators are sounding pretty dumb nowadays because they just don't know what they're talking about a lot of the time, and unless they're against the neoliberals, which is good, These neoliberals used to be the people that people marched against, the WTO, the battle in Seattle, 1999, and now people flip-flop and support these same people that they were protesting before. What the fuck happened? Like I said, what happened to the left? Well, there are still people out there on the left that are still on that side. And a lot of them, that's where the left-wing populist thing is right now. So we got to defeat the neocons and neoliberals. So let's split the parties up. That's all I've got to say.